Attention psychiatrists and mental health prescribers. If you're in a traditional job setting, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say you're probably tired of feeling like a cog in the machine, forced to see patients every 15 minutes so your corporate overlords can turn a profit. I know your dream when you went into medicine wasn't to work for a private equity firm being forced to prescribe Adderall after a 20-minute evaluation, or having zero time to discuss non-medication options like lifestyle changes or psychotherapy because insurance doesn't reimburse for it. What I teach is the practical strategy for breaking free from this broken system and starting your own private practice where you can lean into your unique strengths and have the kind of impact that transforms your patients' lives. My name is Elana Miller, MD. I'm a psychiatrist, coach, and teacher who has mentored over 200 clinicians in my flagship mentorship program, Dream Practice Academy, and over 2,000 in my free program, Dream Practice School. Let me give you 2 specific keys to being successful in private practice that you probably haven't heard elsewhere. Key number 1, differentiate yourself with a unique selling proposition. Unique selling proposition, or USP, is a term from the general business world, and it means the unique factors that differentiate you from a competitor. So if you want to start an insurance practice, you can be a generic psychiatrist who isn't different from Joe Schmo psychiatrist down the street, because patients will want to work with you by virtue of you accepting their insurance. But if you want to attract patients who are willing to pay out of pocket for your services, and to really attract the kind of patients that you most want to work with, that would most be aligned with your skill set, you have to give patients a reason to choose you as opposed to someone else. Now, a lot of psychiatrists assume this means you have to have zero boundaries and give patients your cell phone and take calls at all hours and just prescribe patients whatever controlled substance they want, but that's not the case at all. That's only the case if you don't otherwise differentiate yourself. The differentiating factors I would recommend would be, for example, 1, unique modalities that you offer. Can you offer more than just medication? Do you offer psychotherapy? Can you discuss lifestyle modification and sleep hygiene and nutrition and diet with patients in an educated way? Can you offer evidence-based nutraceuticals as an augmentation strategy to the medications that you're prescribing? These are all things that patients can't get from just any old psychiatrist and will go out of pocket for. Another important differentiating factor that we're kind of taught not to do, or at least I was in residency, is leaning into you as an individual. I know that we're all taught you're supposed to be a blank slate and bring zero individuality or personality into your clinical care, but I'm telling you, there's a middle ground to be found here between unprofessional over-disclosure that's making it about you versus showing up as a real whole human being, because trust me, that's who patients want to work with. If there's something in your story, or even I'd say your belief system, what brought you to psychiatry and the way that you believe in practicing, and the patients who are aligned with that belief system will be able to find you if you explicitly state it, say somewhere on your website. Okay, key number 2, start with a minimum viable practice, or MVP. So I got this concept from the startup world from a book specifically by a guy, Eric Ries, called The Lean Startup. And what he proposed, this is in the software startup world, that instead of spending a year building a really complex software that you're not sure anyone wants, to start off lean, mean, and scrappy, get feedback, and then improve based on what users are actually telling you they need. I recommend the same principles with starting your practice. So we psychiatrists tend to be uber conscientious and overcomplicate things, and that conscientiousness and perfectionism probably helps us in our clinical care, but it totally hamstrings us in our business, because what I see people doing is starting really high overhead practices, expensive offices, a whole staff and admin assistants and front desk staff, a really expensive EHR with all these bells and whistles, and they don't have any patience. Then they start freaking out because they don't have patience and they're losing all this money and they make bad business decisions, versus if you start off yourself lean, mean, and scrappy, and this means no office, start a telepractice, or if you want to see patients in person, just sublet an office, I don't know, a day a week from someone else. Trust me, there's so much empty office space out there, people begging to sublet. Start with a basic EHR that doesn't have all these bells and whistles you don't need. Most of the really good EHRs don't have contracts. Do not sign up for something that has a contract. And they're not going to be more than, say, $100, $150 a month, and probably less in the beginning. Most of them have either free trials or volume discounts in the beginning when you're starting your practice. And then you got malpractice insurance. You really don't need much more than those key things. Then when you get revenue, when you actually have patients, then you might hire an admin assistant. Then you might get your own full-time office, but you wait till you actually need it as opposed to getting it way in advance. So if this was interesting to you and you want to learn more concrete practical tips for building your own private practice, click the link below to get access to my free training video. You'll also get my free integrative protocol for bipolar spectrum disorder, remember that offering integrative care is one of those things that can differentiate you. And you'll get the link to join my free program, Dream Practice School. I'll see you there.